Test. Oh yeah, that looks like I'm good. Okay. I'm Phil Wyman, and this is the Wild Theology podcast, where the world, the humans in it, and God are all wilder than we've been told.
That's your intro.
So, you'll get philosophy and theology and crazy stories that come from 30 years of pastoring,
Boring.
20 years of festival work,
Whatever.
and the mud and blood of wrestling with the living in the spaces angels fear to tread.
Trying to sound interesting, are we?
Shut up.
We're Phil Wyman.
Yes. Look, I'm a lot smarter than you think.
Yeah, you tied your shoes this morning.
Whatever. We're Phil Wyman, and this is Wild Theology, where you get to argue with your own ideas.
And lose.
That's the point. If you would like to support this podcast, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Phil Wyman. It's Friday the 13th at 11:13 a.m. in Salem, Massachusetts, and I'm bringing you this podcast. Does that scare you? No, probably not, but it shouldn't. And today's topic is going to be about superstition, because I thought the number 13 would be a great topic to bring us to this subject of superstition, which is a bigger problem than we know. I think there's a lot of superstition in the Christian church, particularly among Pentecostals, sometimes Catholic and Orthodox traditions as well, and that superstition hinders our ability to be good witnesses for Christ. So, I want to talk a little bit about the number 13 and superstition as a whole. The composer Arnold Schoenberg was terrified of the number 13 and refused to use that number in his work. So instead of writing the number 13 between measures in 12 and 14, he would label it 12a. Now, the fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia, because the number 13 is considered unlucky by so many people. Tall buildings have been built without the 13th floor being numbered. Like Arnold Schoenberg, it might be listed as 12b or simply skipped, and the numbers go straight from 12 to 14. Even the state highway system in Ontario, Canada, skipped the number 13 for its highway designations. And 13 isn't the only feared number. In Shanghai, the floor numbers on some buildings skip 4 and 14 as well, because the number 4 in Chinese sounds similar to the word death. Back in 2003, Route 666, which passes near Four Corners in the U.S., was recommissioned with a new designation, Highway 491. 666, of course, is feared as the number of the mark of the beast in the book of Revelation. But they also had a problem with people regularly stealing the signs. Now, Friday the 13th marks a day of superstition and has become a bit of a celebrity of a day, with horror movies being released on Friday the 13th and horror movies being named after it. Now, I think superstition can be a bit like a relationship. One moment it feels empowering. It makes you feel like you know something secret, almost magical, something others don't quite comprehend. And the next moment, it feels like a protector. You sense danger and you're able to flee from it. But I think superstition is like a bad relationship. It isolates us from society and sometimes even causes us to fear our own friends and family. I have run into some unbelievably superstitious people. The fact is that I probably draw superstition out of them, because when people or things are feared for reasons that seem silly to me, I want to go there. To me, it's important to break the conventions that create isolation and fear. Living in Salem, Massachusetts, getting involved with the month-long Halloween and befriending the witches and Neo-Pagans has made me somewhat of a target for overly superstitious Christians who think we should stay away from such things. In the first few years of pastoring in Salem, there were 6 of us from our church who attended the denomination's national conference in Philadelphia. During a gathering of other pastors and church leaders from New England, we sat at a table with a group from a small church in Rhode Island. And we got to know one another, and as we did, the topic of Halloween in Salem came up because, After all, Salem is famous for both witches and Halloween, and people want to know something about it. So we described our interaction with the city and with the visitors who come during Halloween. We talked about ministry opportunities we'd experienced among thousands of people. But at this news, the pastor of the church from Rhode Island held her fingers up to her lips in the sign of a cross, scrunched up her face, and hissed at us. And after that, she turned away and treated us as though we were some kind of contagious disease. That interaction just became a weird story that we laughed about for years. But it highlights the betraying power of superstition. The pastor from Rhode Island felt empowered by her superstitious belief that Halloween was an inherently evil day, but she acted childishly toward us. Apparently, in her eyes, we were practitioners of evil because we were participating in city events during Halloween, and her peculiar belief caused her to have this antisocial and adolescent behavior toward us. In the end, she ended up looking like some kind of character from a comedy horror spoof. Now, if you compare me to a radical materialist atheist, I will admit to a certain degree of what some people would call superstition. I believe in a God that loves me, and I believe that pleasing God is the right thing to do. I believe that God is involved with our world, and that supernatural things do happen. I also believe in angels and devils, but I'm extremely hesitant to attribute small daily actions or even cataclysmic world events to the acts of God or the devil. On the other hand, I don't pay attention to horoscopes, whether in the newspaper or in complex charts laid out by experienced astrologers. When someone asks me my sign, I'll tell them I'm a Scorpio, and typically keep it to myself that it doesn't mean anything to me. Astrology is one of the superstitious things common to our culture, which is basically harmless, but not worth my attention. I do not see one location on earth as more spiritual than another. I do not attribute more holiness to one day over another. Similarly, I don't believe one location is more wicked than another or one day more evil than another. People may perform evil acts, and our memories of those acts can make times and places feel creepy or remind us of difficult experiences that we want to forget. Decay and rot can help cause old buildings look and sound like they're haunted and mysterious, but I'm not moved by the fear of supernatural activity emanating from them. Years ago, I worked in a boys' home in Salem, and it was said that the third floor of the house was haunted. The man who worked the overnight shift regularly told the story of a supposed lady who haunted the building and said that if he ever saw the ghost, he would simply run away and head home. I worked this shift one night, and he asked what I would do if I saw the ghost. And I jokingly responded, I'm not afraid of ghosts. They are afraid of me. Now, this is exactly how I feel about days like Halloween or Friday the 13th. I'm not afraid of Halloween. It should be afraid of me because I'm coming like Martin Luther to nail 95 theses on its door, which, by the way, he did on Halloween. The Bible warns against treating one day as better than another in some sort of superstitious manner. It also highlights how we should respond to those who are judgmental about our dealings with certain days and seasons. So from Colossians 2, verses 16 and 17, listen to this. Therefore, do not let anyone judge you by what you eat or drink, or with regard to a religious festival, a new moon celebration, or a Sabbath day. These are a shadow of things that were to come. The reality, however, is found in Christ. Now, in saying all this, I'm not saying that ghosts do or don't exist. I'm not saying that things can't be creepy and strange, and that there's not a possibility of a dark edge of supernatural just as well as there's a positive, in my view of the supernatural that comes from the grace of God. But I am going to say I'm just not going to let those things change how I live my life. And I also want to say this. Whether you participate in the activities of a holiday or ignore that holiday, Don't let anybody judge you. Don't allow someone to evaluate your spirituality on the basis of your diet or involvement with the seasons on the calendar of the year. If you think Friday the 13th is cool and someone judges you for it, they're the ones who are weak in faith, not you. They are being betrayed by their cruel and what I think is an illicit relationship with superstition. Those are my thoughts on Friday the 13th from Salem, Massachusetts. Thank you to my patrons who help make these missional travels and these podcasts possible. Without you, I couldn't do it. God bless. If you'd like to support this project, you can do so here on Patreon for as little as $1 a release. And at the most, that's $4 a month.
Why on earth would anybody want to support us?
But I think we're pretty cool, and maybe some people believe in what we're doing.
Oh, come on, you believe that?
Yeah.
Don't you ever think you're just a little too weird for the average person?
Yeah, sometimes.